Okay, lesson 11.6 part 1. What we're going to do today is we're going to start adding and subtracting when I have unlike denominators. So basically what we're going to focus on today is how to get common denominators. We're not really even going to add or subtract any fractions today. We're just going to focus on getting common denominators. So let me start you off just by using a simple fraction problem where I don't have common denominators. So I look at my denominators are 2 and 4. I cannot add this and say it is 4 over 6 because that is incorrect. I must have common denominators to add and subtract fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, okay, what is a good common number that 2 and 4 can go into? And I want to try to do the smallest because I don't want to choose like 8 because then I'm going to end up doing a little more work. So I say 4. 2 can go into 4, and 4 goes into 4 because obviously it's the same number. So what do I need to multiply by 2 to make it a 4? 2. So whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. 4 doesn't need to be multiplied by anything. So now I have 2 over 4 plus 3/4, which is equal to 5 over 4. Okay? So that was pretty simple. But then, if I were to give you this one, 2/3 plus 3/5, what is the number that 3 and 5 will both go into? Well, I know 3 can't go into 5, and I know 5 can't go into 3. So I say, all right, what about 15? So then that means I multiply 5 on this fraction and 3 on this fraction. Basically, we're just multiplying them by each other. So 10 over 15 plus 9 over 15 equals 19 over 15. Okay, so that's just a quick review back to elementary school of how we got common denominators. Because our denominators are going to be a little bit different. We're going to have numbers and letters. So it's going to make things a little more difficult. So if you remember correctly, when we were factoring greatest common factor, we learned about these things called factor boxes, okay? And what we did is we broke each number down and got all of the prime factors and then broke up all of the variables, and however many we had, we put them in their own little boxes. And then to find the greatest common factor, what we did is we just brought down the ones that they had in common, greatest common factor, okay? But with the denominator, it's a little bit different. We do still have least common denominator, but we're going to need a number that they both can go into. So it's not necessarily going to be their factor. It's going to be a number that they both can go into. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our factor boxes just like we did. So I'm going to do upside down division of 12, 2, 6, 2, and 3. And then I have 1x. So these are my factors here. So I'm going to do 12. I'm just going to do lots of boxes. I might not need that many, but I just want to make sure I have it. And then 40 is my 12x, and 40x to the 4th are my two factors. So I'm going to write the factors that I found of 12. 2, 2, 3, and x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for 40. I'm going to do upside down division so I can find all of the prime factors. Hopefully this is coming back to you on how we did this with greatest common factor. 22, 10, 2, and 5. Okay. And I have 4 x's. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put all of those in. So again, we line up the like terms, 2, 2. Those are my like terms. Then I'm going to give 2 and 5 their own boxes. Then I have x, and I've got 3 more x's. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so with least common denominator, or when I'm finding the best common denominator, what I do is I bring down every single factor. So 2 times 2 times 3, and I'm going to keep going with my numbers, times 2 times 5. Those are all my numerical ones. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So if I multiply all of these numbers together, I'm going to get my least common denominator, or the common denominator that I need. So we do 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 5, which is 120. And how many x's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, so x to the 4th power. So all they're asking you to do is find the least common denominator, which is 120 x to the 4th. Okay, so let's do the same thing on the next problem here. So let's do upside down factoring of 18. So we're going to do 18, 2 goes into 18, and I have 9, 3, and 3, and then I have 3 a's because it's a to the 3rd power. Then I can go ahead and do upside down factoring of 60, 2, 30, 2, 15, 3, and 5, and I have 2 a's. So now I'm going to make my factor boxes. So I have 18, a to the 3rd, 60, a squared, so I'm going to put in my factors. So I've got 2, 3, 3, a, and a. And then I've got 2, and then I have another 2, so I'm going to put it in its own factor box back here. Then a 3, and then an a, and an a. So I bring down everything now. 2 times 3 times 3. I'm going to bring down this other 2 also times 2. Then a times a times a. And then I'm going to multiply them together to get my common denominator. 2 times 3 times 3 times 2 is 36. Count up the a's, 1, 2, 3, a to the 3rd power. So this would be the common denominator for 18 and 60. Okay, so looking back at this, I made a mistake. Which factor did I forget? I forgot a 5, so that's going to make a huge deal. Here's a little quick check for you that you can do. If this number is ever smaller than your largest denominator, you know you haven't found the correct least common denominator. So now I just do 36 times 5, which is 180. That makes more sense. So it should be, because we would have multiplied a 5 in here, 180 a to the 3rd power. So that would be our least common denominator. So now what they want us to do is they want us to find the missing numerator. So what they've done is they've converted the denominator from one thing to another, and they want us to find what did you multiply by to get that denominator. So we look at our 3. We're going to look at the numbers first and then the variables second. What do I need to multiply by 3 to make it 15? 5. Okay, so I know I at least need to multiply the top by 5. And then y to y. Well, that stayed the same, so I didn't multiply by any y's at all. So 2 times 5 is 10. My missing numerator is 10. So let's do the same thing here. What did I multiply by 4 to make it 36? 9. And then x squared became x to the 5th. How many x's did I add to that? Because we always want to do addition with x's because of the exponents. So I added 3, so it's going to be x to the 3rd power. So what I'm going to do with this to find my missing numerator is I'm going to distribute this 9x to the 3rd to both terms. So I have 27x to the 4th minus 63x to the 3rd. And this is my missing numerator. Okay, so basically what we've learned how to do is we've learned how to find a common denominator. Then we've learned how to, okay, now that I've gotten a common denominator, what did I multiply to get that? And then whatever it was, I need to multiply by the same thing on the top. So we're just going to practice this tonight on our homework. So go ahead and get started on that.